Good evening, my dear members. A very warm welcome to all of you to this enlightening program organized by the Bangalore branch of SISC of ICI. It's my privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude for your presence here today. The world of entrepreneurship and startup has witnessed tremendous growth over the past few years. With this rapid development comes an evolving language and plethora of jargons that may seem confusing and even intimidating to those new to this ecosystem. As professionals, it is essential for us to stay updated with these terms and understand their implication. With this in mind, our program today is centered around the topic jargons used in startup ecosystem, which I think we should all be aware of. During the course of this program, our esteemed speaker, CA Vijay Raja sir, will dwell into the most commonly used jargons and elucidate their significance in the startup realm. From the angel investor and venture capital, we shall uncover the meaning behind these terms and explore their relevance in the contemporary business landscape. Our aim is to provide clarity and foster a deeper understanding of the startup ecosystem, thus empowering you to navigate this exciting world with confidence and competence. I would like to take a moment to express my gratitude to our speaker, CA Vijay Raja sir, who has graciously agreed to share his expertise and insights with us today. His knowledge and experience will undoubtedly add an immense value to this program and enrich our understanding of the startup jargons. Lastly, I encourage all of you to actively engage in this discussion, ask questions, and share your thoughts throughout the program. Let's make most of this opportunity to learn from one another and grow together as a community. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to all of you, and I'm confident that this program will prove to be an enlightening and enriching experience for everyone present here. Thank you, sir. I welcome Vijay Raja sir once again.
Thank you.
I request Secretary to take over. Manjunath sir, over to you.
Thank you, Pramod sir. Good evening, esteemed members. Namaste, Vijay Raja sir.
Namaskara.
I have proud privilege in introducing my guru, rather than many of our members in South India, guru of many of our friends here. CA Vijay Raja is a gold medalist in chartered accountancy, has secured third rank in all India level in cost accountancy, and then he's a bachelor of law, secured first rank for the entire state, company secretary from ICSI. He's a MSc psychology. He's a BCom graduate from Bangalore University, secured 28th rank. He's an insolvency professional from IBBI. He has also qualified in proficiency assessment conducted by Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs as an independent director. Professional experience contains he's a practicing chartered accountant and partner at Guru & Jana, a 600 plus member firm heading the consulting and valuation team as well as the legal team, specializing in due diligence, structure advice, valuations, legal health check, legal due diligence, etc. He is a member of Institution of Valuers, a corporate trainer and visiting faculty over 30 years, past member, Central Taxes Committee of Federation of Karnataka Chamber of Commerce and Industry, presented various papers on income tax, corporate laws, GST across India. He has conducted corporate trainings in the field of taxation, corporate laws, and finance and GST for Toyota Kirloskar, CA Institute across India, Mangalore Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited, UB Group, State Bank of India, Mysore Minerals Limited, Karnataka Power Corporation Limited, Indian Institute of Management, Comptroller of State Accounts Department, Karnataka State Bureau of Public Enterprises, and many more. And he is the author of Corporate and Other Laws, popular publication in CA profession. Is also is the author of Corporate and Economic Laws, another popular publication in the CA profession. He was a visiting faculty at ICAI, ICMA, CFA, MBA, and such other institutes. Has coached more than 55,000 chartered accountancy students. With this brief introduction, I present before you CA Vijay Raja sir. Much privilege, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, my gratitude I always believe gratitude is the best attitude, which will always take us to higher altitudes. So my gratitude to the CA Institute, our alma mater, which has given us this privilege of calling ourselves as professionals and giving us our daily bread. So thank you. And thank you to the fantastic team of ICAI Bangalore branch for continuously hosting fantastic sessions. And it's not easy to keep doing this on a regular basis. We can do it one-off time, but not all the time. So thanks a lot for all the efforts. Thank you, because you're also helping all the members gain the knowledge, and thank you for that. So having said that, I think we can start. I will share the screen. So please let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Visible. Thank you.
Visible.
Thank you so much. Now, this topic is about the jargons. So let me straight away start. For us, normally, if a startup client comes to us, when he speaks, it will be something like this. We feel what he is speaking is of this language. We will not feel that he's speaking our language. So we feel that he's speaking something like this, and we have to learn how to do the crossword puzzle. So that is why I've started from here saying that we need to now find out what is he trying to say? What am I supposed to understand from that? So what should I ask him? It is like we start a conversation and the conversation starts. Imagine we sit there and they say, start off, arigatou gozaimasu, wakarimashita. Then straight away we know he's not talking my language at all. Similarly, it happens in startups. It always used to happen even in office, wherein suddenly a client will come and he'll start using, okay, I think we need to look into the burn. We need to understand what is the churn happening, what is the pivot now. So should we go for bootstrapping or should we go for a seed? Then everybody is full wondering what is happening. So unless you are in that ecosystem, an outsider will never understand what's happening. And we as chartered accountants, especially being part of Bangalore, Karnataka, we are part of this fantastic startup capital. And I think in this startup capital, we should know when a founder speaks to us or when there's a startup idea coming up, when a client comes to us and says, this is what I'm planning to do, we should be at least aware of some basic terminologies. So this session is to ensure that it no more remains like this. So we ensure that these terminologies becomes more clearer for us. So let's begin the session. So if any doubts are there, how do I make out? Let me check that also. So will there be the chat box is there wherein I can also see it? Let me check that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can see the chat box also. Yeah.
Yes.
So
and
if
then
any
Q&A
query, perfect. Q&A also is there. So if any query is there, please feel free to ask. I shall be more than happy to answer them. So what I'll do is I will try to cover, it's not possible to humanly cover all the jargons because we have jargons in startup being in the tech field. We have startups in non-tech field. We have startups in the mechanical field. We have startups in the cloud field. So we need to know which one are we discussing. So we will stick to some of those basic concepts, which is common amongst all the startups. I think that will help us. So having said that, so let me begin. Why we should know this? In fact, I used to always tell this, that we'll have to break our head when a client comes and he speaks some words and we don't understand which language he's trying to speak. And therefore, we don't want this situation to happen, trying to understand what he's trying to say. So let's begin this journey of understanding startups. Now, first and foremost, what we all have to understand is this part. So when we talk about a startup here, right? Startup has a life into different stages. What are the different stages that a startup will have? One is called as the idea stage. If we can see here, this is called as the idea stage. We call it as a pre-seed. So this is the first terminology we are supposed to know. It's called as a pre-seed stage, which means it's an idea stage. Then we have an early stage, which is called as the seed stage. Then we have the growth stage. And finally, we have the exit stage. Stage means not this where they will present one award and you see lights coming here. So stage is not that stage. We are here talking about a different life cycle of an entity, a startup. Now, what is this pre-seed, seed? In fact, first time for a person who does not know a startup ecosystem, you imagine talking to them and they start off telling pre-seed, seed. Then we'll straight away ask, oh, you're into agriculture. I see, good. Agriculture is backbone of India. Like that we'll have to start. But he is not talking about agriculture at all. But we are wondering, why is he talking about seed? What's happening here? So let's understand what they all mean one by one. So I'll take you through all of them, starting with the first one here. We call it as the idea stage or the pre-seed stage. Now, what is this pre-seed stage? As I've already told you, it's got nothing to do with, it's got absolutely nothing to do with agriculture. What is this pre-seed? Is basically you have an idea. That's all. So when you start with an idea, then we call that as a pre-seed stage. So anybody having an idea, we call it as, oh, you're in the pre-seed stage. That's what we say. Many of them come out with these ideas. I think many of them, those who watch these serials which come called as Shark Tanks. There's one very popular episodes which comes called as Shark Tank, which is all giving you all this. So those who are familiar with those series will also understand some of these terminologies used, or in your office, like how we all learned all these things through our clients only. It is thanks to our clients that we learned all these terminologies. So first time when we experienced all this, we are talking about many years ago. Now that we are so comfortable with the startup ecosystem in office, now we don't mind. But initially, we all had to struggle to understand what is he trying to say. So when he comes with an idea, we say it's a pre-seed stage. That's all. Now, why is it called? Why are we using the word seed? Why are we using the word seed is because we're trying to say you have an idea. Now, idea is more of intangible space. That's called pre-seed. That means in an agricultural terminology, as a metaphor, I'm only plowing the field. So plowing the field for a farmer, he only has an idea that once I plow the field and loosen the soil, then only I can start putting the seed. Those who are into agriculture will understand this. You can't simply straight away go to one agricultural land and throw the seeds there. Not possible. First, you have to actually do the plowing, loosening the soil, ensuring that the land is fertile enough to take the seed. Then only we go for the next part. So therefore, it's an idea. So a farmer also has an idea saying that, hey, I think I have this next idea as I want to plant so-and-so seeds into it. So we say pre-seed. Therefore, if an entrepreneur is at a idea level, we say it's called as a pre-seed. Fundings will happen at every stage. So I'll get into that part also as and when I keep discussing. So let's understand this part now here. In pre-seed, that is at the idea stages, what all terminologies are generally used. So I'll try to tell you what all terminologies happens at that stage, right? The first one is called as the disruptive innovation. I really don't understand why these jargons should be all in the negative context. Why not positive? You know, people use this word, oh, with disruptive innovation. What is this disruptive? You're disrupting an existing market and creating a new market. So you're calling that disruptive. I'm never comfortable with these words, but unfortunately, this is what is there in the market today. I thought it should be constructive. Innovations are supposed to be constructive, not to destroy something. All these innovations are done to construct something and to build it and to make it a better world. I don't know why is it really called disruptive. It's very negative connotation. I think it would have been better that if you had called it as constructive innovation, but that's how the terminologies are. Disruptive innovation, basically to say you got an idea. So if you see this guy here, yeah, this fellow, Papa, he is not able to sleep also. He is not able to sleep also because he's all the time thinking, yeah, I think I got a fantastic idea and I want to implement it. And he's trying to think, okay, I think disrupt the market. Right from childhood, we also had these ideas. Disruptive ideas only actually in childhood also. As a school teacher also, disruptive ideas only. Even in school, seeing the teacher, how to pull the chair, how to throw chalk piece, rockets, disruptive ideas only it started with. So probably it has come from there only, saying that we start with disruptive ideas rather than constructive ideas. So we call it as disruptive innovation. All startups start with an innovative idea, which is something new. They feel that they can make a difference. What is new need not always be a product. If the process is new, then that is also new. If the way you present it is new, it is still new. The way you can distribute it like nobody else, it is still new. The way you can connect the two ends between the seller and the buyer, that is also still new. So when we talk about auto was there, but you introduce Ola, Uber, then that becomes new because you're trying to connect two people together. So therefore, creating a new one need not be always a product. It can be a service. It can be an idea wherein you're trying to improvise the quality of living. We always say there's a problem statement and you're trying to come out with a solution which is far more better than what was existing in the market. That's called as a disruptive innovation. Then come to something called as legal health checks. Now, why I have added this legal health check is this is something which again, I have realized the importance of this again, thanks to seeing how clients look into it in office. Now, luckily, I'm blessed with a fantastic legal team in office, wherein we have a large legal team which always tells us what can go wrong if we don't take care of a legal health check. So we always know about only one type of a health check. That is this health check, isn't it? Yeah, we always know this kind of a health check wherein we're talking about the doctors and the doctors giving us some prescriptions. These are the kind of health checks we know. But we are telling, no, there is something called as legal health check. Now, what is this legal health check? Legal health check is basically, this is something which is neglected and ignored. See, if you talk to any entrepreneur, he's all the time interested in paisa kahan aayega, where is my money, how do I spend that money, how do I ensure that my product becomes successful. He's all the time thinking only about that. So he has no time to think about the other aspects. That is where our role comes to a picture wherein we say, hey, you're supposed to have a founder's agreement. Imagine a situation that there are two friends who said, okay, let us start. We are the co-founders. That is a terminology we generally use. If there are two of them, there are co-founders. Okay, the co-founders together have started. If there's a one person, then it's okay, a single founder. In fact, today we were talking to one of the startup entrepreneurs. He's a single founder. But there are most of the cases we see that the two friends who come together. Now, do you have an agreement between the two of you? See, today you will tell, oh, we are very good friends. So it doesn't matter. Arey, kya yaar? We have a passion for what we are doing. All that is absolutely fine. Today it's okay. But what about tomorrow? Tomorrow, as and when the money keeps pouring in, then you go to Series A, Series B, Series C rounds. And then when there is an exit happening, then where do you go? At that time, they'll start a fight saying that, hey, you told me I'll get so much. No, but I did so much work. No, but you did not put any contribution towards this activity. So you need to have a founder's agreement first. So we always say that it's very important to have a founder's agreement. And founders basically are the ones who started this, the one who came out with this idea. So there is a founder's agreement. That is the first thing that happens. There is an NDA. We call it as an NDA is not some party and all here. It is not some politics. NDA here, basically, we are talking about non-disclosure agreement. So you need to have a non-disclosure agreement. We are talking about disruptive innovation. We are talking about coming out with new ideas. If somebody is coming out with new ideas and the fellow is coming out with new ideas, if he does not have an NDA, that is a non-disclosure agreement, before he can even think of seed, because I'm talking about pre-seed. His idea is already taken by somebody. They've already created the seed. It has become tree. It has already given fruits also. And he's still thinking. Why? Because you have not entered into an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, telling very clearly, saying that, look, whatever I'm discussing should be held confidential. That's what is the first thing we do in office. In fact, when a client calls up, especially these startup founders, they'll say, hey, let's discuss. But before we discuss, can we enter into an NDA? In fact, even if they don't tell, we tell. From our legal team, my legal team always tells me, hey, please tell the client that let's get into an NDA, because it's always good for them. And we create that culture for them, saying that you better get into an NDA, it will help you. Similarly, the vendor agreements, the customer agreements, see, everything has a finer print. As long as everything is fine, there is no problem. But everything will not be fine all the time. So if something goes wrong, at that time we'll wake up and say, my agreement did not contain this, my agreement did not contain that, then we are in trouble. So these are the things which we always talk to the founders, and we tell them that you need to have an FA. FA is your founders agreement. We need to have an NDA, that is a non-disclosure agreements. We need to have a VA and a CA. CA is not chartered accountant here. It is the customers agreements that we are supposed to have. So this is from the health check point of view. Legal aspect is generally neglected. So please ensure that when you talk to your clients, you tell them that legal aspects has to be taken care. And that's the reason why we find that in a practice, it's very important to have the legal services also. This is a terminology which is very popular terminology. It is called as bootstrapping. In fact, those who are from Karnataka local language, you will know it. We only knew our parents shouting at us, hey, boot aloditin nodon. That is the word we knew. That is the words we knew, saying that, hey, boot aloditin. Basically trying to say that I'll take a boot, basically shoes, and hit you. Yeah. So we only knew that words from our parents, grandparents when we were kids. Now we use this word in startup entity called bootstrapping. Normally bootstrapping means we'll think like this only. Oh, boot is there. Lace is there, that is straps are there. So take the boot, add it with the straps over, then tie it together. Boot has been strapped, is what we will think as a literal meaning of bootstrapping. Then only we realize bootstrapping is not this, because normally when we start, now we'll ask them, okay, how are you functioning? How is your startup functioning? Entrepreneur will say, oh, we are into bootstrap. Then you start after wondering, bootstrap, papa, yaro odru nimana boot alli. So then we understand, no, what he meant is not that. Then what did he mean? What he basically meant when he said bootstrapping, when they say, is trying to say, bootstrapping means I am doing this entire venture currently with my own money, without external funds, if you can see here. Absolutely no external funding at all. So without any external funding, I'm doing it myself. That means I'm tightened with my own resources. So funded by an entrepreneur's personal resources or the startup's own revenues is what they call it as bootstrapping. So that means they will start, now their mind will imagine what happens in a bootstrapping situation, Papa, for the founders. More than thinking about the idea as to what they should do for the product, their money is all, their ideas will always be how to ensure we don't spend too much money. Why? Because it's all personal funds, no external funds. So therefore, bootstrapping basically means there is no outsider investing. So that means what? We as chartered accountants will understand this now. The moment I say without external funding, then you know the entire capital, the entire equity is with the founders themselves. That means the promoters will have 100% stake in this entity. So if any promoter comes and tells us saying that we are into bootstrapping, then we know 100% shareholding is still with the promoters itself. That's called bootstrapping. I was talking about this terminology called pre-seed. I told you pre-seed is like plowing the seed, right? Plowing the entire field for the sake of the seed. So it's not plowing the seed, it's plowing the field. Now, when we are plowing the field, that means we're creating an idea, saying that let's get it ready. That's called as a pre-seed capital. That means the money that is put in. Now, today, what has happened is, even at a pre-seed level, even when an entrepreneur comes and tells us, hey, we are into the pre-seed funding. So that means what? Pre-seed funding, pre-seed capital, basically trying to say, even before I have launched my product, that means even before I have sown the seed, at an idea level itself, we call it as the ideation. At the idea level itself, there is somebody who is willing to contribute. So it can be, who can be the people who will contribute at this level? Number one, self. That means if he's somebody who has been working somewhere, now he quit the job and then he has started on his own, then whatever savings he has got from his own salaries all these years, he will start with that. Or family support. There's a beautiful word we use. I'll put it here for you. We call it as F. This is the words we use normally. It's called as, I'll write it here, F, F, F. Oh, we all know RRR. RRR, very popular movie, isn't it? RRR, especially after all these winning for the song and all that. RRR has become famous. This is now FFF. So we call it as F and FFF. What is FFF? FFF basically means you're getting the money from friends, you're getting the money from family. Now, friends and family, we have understood. What is the other F? We say fools. Why do we say fools? We say fools. Why? Because you're still at an idea stage. Nobody knows whether it will become a success or not. You're still okay to invest into it. So we also call them as fools. So we say FFF, saying family, friends, and fools are the ones who give money for this kind of entity. In fact, in many startup meetings we have, the founders will tell us, oh, it's okay, we have got a lot of fools who are willing to support us, right? Basically, not in a bad sense, basically trying to say that people, we are foolish enough, saying that we go by the heart and need not be with the intellectual calculation. So intellectual calculation may fail, but I think with the heart we are going by. So intellectually looks like fools. So we call it as FFF for pre-seed capital that comes in. So I think we are clear with what is this pre-seed capital or pre-seed funding. Fantastic. So here is what I've just given you, what it means, so that it will help you to understand. So we are telling this pre-seed is nothing but early stage of funding. Investing is an idea, but you're not investing in the product, you're investing in the idea itself, right? So your money, if you see here, what I put it here, the money is going into the idea. At the idea stage itself, you're trying to put in the money. That is called as pre-seed capital or pre-seed funding. So we are very clear about two things here. One is bootstrap. Bootstrap means nobody is going to fund except your own money. Whereas pre-seed funding can be somebody else is also funding your ideas, right? And this will be a beginning or a starting point for developing the products in exchange for equity. So either you may promise them equity, or you may say that I will not give you equity right now, let us see later. First you give me some money as a loan. However, whatever terms they have, because they are not very strict on these matters, because I told you it's only family, friends, etc. who invest in this, so they don't mind about this. Okay. Now let's come to the next one. Let me go to the next one. Now this is a terminology which we use. Let me see. Yes, here. We call it as MVP. It is not most viable product. It's actually the minimal viable product. What is this minimal viable product? So it is not called most. So this has to be corrected. It's not called most viable. It is called as minimal viable product. So what's a minimal viable product? We all remember those olden days, isn't it? Those olden days where we used to create the Nokia. I don't know how many of you remember the Nokia phones. First, when we started with mobile, we used to have the Nokia 1100. In fact, if some of you belong to previous generation to Nokia, we used to have this pager, Motorola pager. Pager service used to come. So just imagine, no, we used to have these pagers. Before that, landline, this cordless phone and all came later. We had landline phones. So that means what? At that point of time itself, none of them actually worried, saying that I think I can make a better product. So when a landline was made, they knew that I can make a remote handheld phone. But then they said, first, let me release the landline with that goal. Those who remember that goal, we used to turn, we have to dial somebody. He said, let me release it first. That is the basic. It is still viable in the sense, the objective is I should be able to make a call. I can make a call. It may not be convenient, but it is still viable. And that is called as a minimal viable product. Nokia 1100, we used to always say that, that phone, the buttons used to be there. Just using those buttons, we said, it's okay. Doesn't matter. No, but I can create a better phone. But first you release this. No, let us see later. That is called as a minimal viable product. So therefore we say, we don't wait for the best. Imagine if all of us were waiting for the best only and then we will launch. We would have never had any of these things. No, why will we ever launch Ambassador Fiat and then have one Chombu in the dicky? Why Chombu? Chombu because, wherever you go in the highway, once in a while you have to stop, get water, pour, because, you have to open that radiator. You would have seen in all the old movies. Every old movie, that Fiat and Ambassador car will be there. It has to go on the highway. It has to stop. Then buzu, all that steam will come there, and then they'll open, oh, chat is heated up, so we have to search for water, and this is common. At that point of time, if everybody had told, no, I'll wait for the best, unless Tesla level car is ready, I will not launch. Nobody said that. Doesn't matter, let me start launching, let me test it, and then we'll see what to do later. So therefore, we say it is the most basic version. So when we talk about this kind of a product here, that is the minimal viable product, MVP, it's the most basic version of a product that can be released to test the market and validate the assumptions to see whether concept is, can I connect each other? I am able to connect each other. So we are able to connect each other. I think the first objective is achieved. Now let us see how to improvise. Then we'll have one Steve Jobs who will come and make a revolution into iPhones, and then all that will continue from there. Then we have customer payback period. How long will it take to recover the cost that I have incurred from the customer? That is called the customer payback period, because we spend a lot of money. So as an entrepreneur, he would have spent a lot of money to acquire a customer. Then how much time will it take for him to get a payback? We call it as a customer payback period. We are clear on this also, correct. Then let's go to the next one. I have a chat box. Let me see if I can see the chat. Arunachalam has put up a chat for us, wherein I'll just take up, as and when we are discussing, I don't mind looking into the chats and the Q&As if you have, as to, he's talked about the exit stage. What is the exit stage? Saying that a failed startup or a startup is exiting the startup to become a regular entity. So that's a question asked. I'll come to the exit stage at the end. At the very end, I will take up the concept of exit stage. I'm sure that should be okay. We will exit. At the time of our exit, we will exit. I'll take up exit at that time. Let's go to the next one. Right. Now come to the seed stage. So we saw first stage called as pre-seed. Now we're talking about the seed stage. Now, what is the seed stage? Again, going back to agriculture. So going back to agriculture, seed stage would be that what? That farmer is now plowing the field, idea is ready, kept the entire land fertile, all that is ready, loosening the soil, all done. That means idea is ready. Now we have to seed. That means we are now plowing the seed and ensuring that this seed will later on become that putti molke bidutte anತಾರೆ now. We call it as, it will have the sprouting, and from the sprouting then it becomes a plant, sapling, then a tree, etc. That process will start. So early stage, we call it as a seed stage. Now if at the seed stage level, there are a lot of terminologies we use. What is that? CAC, a very popular terminology, especially from the point of view of an investor coming in, because this is the area where you'll start finding all the investors walking in at this stage more than the previous stage. FFF was the previous stage, but this is the stage where people will walk in to invest. CAC, customer acquisition cost. There's always a cost to acquire a customer. So normally this question is asked, you're telling that, oh, I will get 5,000 customers. Oh, I will get 10,000 customers. Correct, appa? From where will the customers come? From where will they come? So what is the customer acquisition cost? How much advertisement I have to do to get this kind of customers? How much of awareness should I create? How much of marketing should I do? That is called a CAC, customer acquisition cost. Right. So of course, for us, the moment we see CA, we get very excited. Aha, CA is there, CA is there. CA nodadre saku. You know, the excitement. The good only. Good to have that excitement for us, that when we see the word CA, we get really excited. But then here with CAC is not nothing to do with chartered accountants who has done the CA course. CA course has been done. We're talking about customer acquisition cost. We are clear on this. Then how much value does a customer bring in for your business? Now, this is very interesting. Is it a customer who is just a one-time customer? He comes, buys the product, and that's it. A lifelong, there is nothing between me and him. For example, if you're talking about COVID vaccination. Now, let us say COVID vaccination dose is over, that's it. We used to have this polio drops, if you're aware. Polio drops, that means the customer comes and that's it. He never comes back again. But you talk about a Netflix subscription, an Amazon Prime subscription. Now we're talking about these subscriptions. We know that it's not that he's going to come only once. He'll pay me only once in that year and that's all. I will not see him again. That's not true. He will continue to give me money again and again. So look at this. Beautiful, huh? What marketing. So they not only see the CAC, that is customer acquisition cost, they'll also look at the lifetime value of the customer. So what do you mean by a lifetime value of a customer? I want to see, okay, I have spent 1,000 rupees on acquiring a customer. 1,000 rupees I spent. That means my marketing cost, advertisement, 1,000 rupees I spent. Okay, I spent 1,000 rupees to get the customer. Fair enough. Now his subscription, what he's going to give me? I spent 1,000, but he is going to subscribe by only paying some 500 rupees or especially 299. This kind of subscriptions are there, isn't it? He pays 299, but I spent 1,000. Now we're wondering, what kind of a logic is this? We're spending 1,000 for a customer and he's spending only 299. Then we say, no. It's not like that. What happens is we look at the lifetime value of that customer. So what is this lifetime value? He might have given me 299 now, but I know into X number of times, he'll continue to give me 299 into N number of years. So 299 into N number of years is what I'm looking for. So I know if he comes in at least for 5 years, 10 years, he's with me, that's good enough for me. Then the lifetime value of the customer, if it is greater than my cost of acquisition of the customer, then I'm okay, ideal for any business, you see. So that's what we say. If my LTV is greater than the CAC, it is ideal for any business. So normally in any of these startup entities, they talk like this only, saying that, hey, what's the LTV? What's the CAC? So the moment they say CAC, immediately the investor will ask, what about LTV? And if I don't know what is LTV, I'll tell him, yeah, I have a large TV. So LTV, they'll think it's a large TV. I have, no, it's not a large TV. LTV basically means that it's lifetime value of a customer. I think we are clear on these terms also. Super. Let's go to the next one. It's called as a churn. What is this? Churn. Now, churn basically here, if you see, churn does not mean churning. Churning happily. Can you see with all the love? He's churning and making it right. It looks like Maggi masala, whatever. Now he's making something churn. Don't get so excited. Aha, Maggi masala now. Okay, let's. Oh, he's making something. No. Sometimes after you have, he's churning here. But after we eat, then inside some other churning will start. Then full stars only, right? We will start seeing stars only because after we eat, if you see this fellow is holding his stomach and some other churning is happening here. Then finished. We have to see stars only after this. So churning is not that churning. So what is this churn? Again, a popular term that is used in startup ecosystem called as a churn. Now, what is this churn? So let me explain what a churn is all about. So it's not about what I put here. Definitely not. Then what's a churn? Let's see what's a churn. Here we go. Right, here we go. What is a churn? Now, if you see here, the rate at which customers stop using a product or service, we call it as the units churned out or leaving a business. See, I may start. I will say, hey, I have 1,000 customers. I'm sure all of you know this, especially when a new restaurant is started. Darshini, especially local style Bangalore, Vasa Darshini, or for the youngsters, younger generation, Vasa Pani Puri Gadi fellow has come. Oh, new Pani Puri Gadi has come. Oh, that new hotel has started, new Darshini has started. Everybody will run. Full rush. We all will rush there. Full. Then after a period of time, slowly it will start coming down. Initially it starts. So customer keeps going again and again. But after some time, it starts coming down. So we call that as the churn. Meaning what? How many are going out? Who are all leaving? So I may start with 10,000 customers, but then slowly it may become 8,000. Why? Because they may not come back again and again so many times. The restaurants especially we talk to the younger generation, they'll tell you saying that, oh, I've already gone to that restaurant before, I don't want to go again. So therefore, if you see here, what I've put it here as goodbye. So saying that, they're saying goodbye. I may not come back again. So what is the churn rate? Very important to understand what is the churn rate. So normally as an investor, when they ask these founders, hey, you're telling that you are having a customer base of 5,000, but what's your churn rate? That means how many leave after a period of time. So the way of calculating, of course, mathematically it is users at the start of the period minus users at the end divided by users at the beginning. You get that ratio to understand what is the churn rate. This will give you an idea as to over a period of time it may start decreasing. Now churn rate, if it is less, we all understand it is good. That means what? That means people are only adding for my product. People are not going down. Then that is good for you. If it's adding and it's not reducing. But if the churn rate is very high, that means there is some problem with the business. Why? Because people are leaving fast. So that's called as a churn rate. I think we are clear with what's a churn. So it's called as a churn. Then there's a burn. Churn to burn. Right? Let's understand what's a burn. Again, burn is not this burn, finished. Imagine somebody asks you, what's the burn rate? Right? So burn rate has got nothing to do with this burning. What is this burn? Let's understand what's a burn. So burning is not this burning, but it's a very popular, even in reporting when due diligence is done, we use this terminology of burn. Saying what is a cash burn, what is your burn rate is what we always discuss even when we do a due diligence. What is this burn? How fast? We are talking about the rate at which a startup burns its funds. If you see here, let me take you there here. If you see here, yes, this part. A startup burns its funds. Now burns means again, we'll not go literally, saying that why will you burn it? It is all Lakshmi, Pesa to hamara Lakshmi hai. Correct. All that is correct here. That's why money is falling. Can you see? So burn rate basically means how much are you spending? So kitna spending ho raha hai, we call it as burn. So the gross cash outflow is called as your gross burn. Right? Then we have the net burn. Of course, the net burn is the gross burn, which is how much is the outflows, all which is going out. And then what is the revenue inflow? So if at all you're able to generate some revenue inflow, then the difference is your net burn as to how much is actually going out. So obviously startups having a negative burn is very common, isn't it? Because in the initial stages, the spending is always more than the inflow what they get. So we say a high burn rate would obviously require a high working capital. That means they spend a lot of money. That means they always have to keep on getting a lot of money with them. So we call it as a high. A burn rate means that they have spendings which is very high. If they're positive, then they will not have any burn because then the revenues are overtaking their outflows, then they don't have the burn anymore. Right? But otherwise, they say, what is the cash burn? Even otherwise, when they have revenues also, still they want to know. I want to know still what is my burn normally, what is my outflows I have. This not only for a startup entity. I would like to add one point here for all of you. During COVID times, this burn rate became very, very important for every enterprise, irrespective of whether it was a startup or any other entity. Doesn't matter at all. So this became very important. Why? Because what used to happen was during COVID times, revenues freezed. No more funds. So where is revenue inflow? No revenue inflow only. Then the only other thing was only going outflow. Paying salaries to everybody, paying the rent to everybody. Now this was the full-time job. Isn't it? And therefore we said, during that time, not only for a startup entity, for everybody, burn rate became important. So everybody wanted to know what's my burn? How much money am I left with? How long can I survive? So there is a similar terminology with this, which is called as a runway. I'll take you to that also. Let me go. Here we go. It's called as a runway. Runway again. Runway means not this runway, Sakat, where the aeroplane takeoff can be ready. Runway. Runway is not that runway. Then what is runway? Yeah. Not running away. Runway means I'm running away from this place. Escape. Then what is runway? There is in fashion industry they use, right? Where they have this ramp for them to walk on the ramp there, and these models who walk there is also called as a runway. That's not what is called as a runway. So then what is this runway? But again, a very popular term that is always used, saying runway, what's your runway? What's your runway? So what is this runway? Let's understand from a startup ecosystem, what is this runway? The amount of time a startup has until it runs out of cash. Now I told you it's a similar terminology with your cash burn. Cash burn only was telling you as to how much is your outflow. Now here you're trying to find out the time. For example, let us say you have a burn of 1 million. I'm just giving you an assumption. Let's take it as an example. Let's say there is a burn of 1 million and you have with you a total funds of 10 million. If you're going to burn 1 million every month and what you have is 10 million, that means you know your runway is 10 months. That means your turnaround time would be the window, which what is there. In this window time only, you have to do whatever you want to do and make your product successful. So your runway time, the window what you have, so that means your time starts now. Especially during COVID. I think all of us, we all know, I'm sure all of you would share the same feelings during COVID times as to how we all had to go through this. Wherein how much money we still have, can we still pay the salaries, can we still pay the rent, can we still ensure electricity is paid, can we still retain our people, how do we run this? So we always were thinking on the runway, how many more months, because COVID taught us a great lesson. It taught us saying that we can't be complacent, we can't go the American way, telling that first I will spend, then I will think about earning. No, we have to go the Indian way. Indian way is better to save first, right? And have funds for contingencies. I think that's called an important aspect, and therefore the time keeps ticking there. So we say it's a runway. So I think we're understanding what's a runway. So especially when any entity says, hey, we have 10 million with us, we'll always ask them a reverse question. Okay, you have 10 million, what's the runway? That's what we ask them. Okay, what's your runway? Hey, no, the runway is only 10 months. Then you're in trouble. Then you know that you have to turn around everything in 10 months. Otherwise, you're in deep trouble. Again, you're short of cash. The most popular activity, our favorite, isn't it, as chartered accountants, and that is valuations. Why? Because this is where our role comes into picture. We have our role here in valuations. A valuation is the process of determining the value of a startup. We have the pre-money valuation, the post-money valuations. It's all required by law. We have got regulatory requirements. Income tax requires valuations to be done. Companies Act requires valuations to be done. SEBI requires valuations. FEMA will require valuations. RBI will say, I want this to be valued. So you got a lot of regulatory authorities telling that I want some valuations to be done. And valuations, we all know, is a big activity. In that also, we have got various categorizations of chartered accountant doing a valuation. We have RVs, the registered valuers, doing valuations. MBs, merchant bankers doing valuations. So therefore, valuations is a big activity. So I will not get into the full details of valuation. That can be a separate session by itself. So probably maybe some other sessions we will have on valuations and fundings and how the valuations are done and so on. But here we just understand that valuation is very important for all the startups, because ultimately what they want to know is pesa. Pesa is everything. Dabbu, kas, pano, right? Dabbu, kasu, rokda is what is important for everybody. So valuations becomes very important as to how they will dilute everything. Cap table. Again, normally we ask this question saying, what is the cap table? When we say cap table, there is a cap ide, table ide, tago, right? Cap ide, table ide. Yeah, here we see, I went somewhere, looks like, wait. Here we are. So we'll say cap ide, table ide, cap table, super, right? So what is this cap table? It's not about the cap sitting on a table, calling it as a cap table. Let's understand what's a cap table. Now, cap table basically is your capitalization table. It's a record of all the securities issued by companies, such as the stocks, the options, the warrants, etc. We call it as a cap table, telling that what is your capital structure. How much is the founder's share? How much is the angel investor's share? Or is there some VC which has come in? Or is there some employees for whom you have given? Is there any option that the ESOPs given? Or is there any convertible warrants which you have? All that is called as part of your cap table. So that way we understand what is your capitalization structure as at now, and of course, what will be your cap table for future also. So we have seen pre-seed. Now we are seeing seed capital. Now seed capital again, when we say seed capital, this is where you're talking about you're ready with some product. So we're talking about actual seeding. Let's talk about this seed capital. Also, we call it a seed funding. So seed financing is a type of equity-based financing where the investor commits their capital in exchange. If you see here, let me highlight that here. Investors come into picture. So this is where it becomes very important. Investors can come in even at the pre-seed stage, absolutely no problem. But most popular is at the seed level. You find investors showing more interest than at the pre-seed level. In pre-seed level, the FFF will show the interest. At the seed level, you have all these angels who come into picture here. Now they want an equity interest. Family and friends may say, oh, you want money, take it, I'll help you, you have some passion, take it. But that is a different story. Here, you're talking about the equity interest that is shown, saying that I want some stake in this company. That is where we are talking about seed capital, and that is a slight distinction between pre-seed and seed. Pre-seed would be at the idea stage. Seed would be at the next stage, wherein you have something ready with you. We call it as some product is ready, like with your MVPs, the minimal viable product. Now the angel investors, very popular. Angels is not this pari hume. Yeah, not that paris. We are not talking about these paris, saying that pari hume. Then what is this angel investors? Then why are they called angels? Yeah, actually, they are pari only for us, isn't it? Right? Definitely, we have to fall in love with all these paris, isn't it? Definitely, yes. Why? Because why we love these angels? You came in my life as an angel. Why? Struggling without money. Somebody came and said, I'll give you money. Tu to farishta ban gaya. You become God for those people, right? So therefore, we call them as angel investors. So these angel investors are the one who actually help you in realizing your passion of making it a reality. Now, who are these angel investors? Basically, these are the HNIs, high net worth individuals who provide financial assistance to all the small startups in exchange for an equity or maybe a convertible debt, however they want it. Compared to a regular lender, their terms are much more favorable. They help in the startups. So most of these angels are there. I'll tell you about incubators and accelerators and all that a bit later. Unlike VC, we say angel investors is much better, right? So if you see here, I have just given this here. If you can see all of you, 1 minute. Yeah, here if you can see that, your money gets the wings. Your money gets the wings because now you're saying, I'm ready to fly. That means here we have somebody who is willing to water my plant. And that's somebody who's willing to water my plant and not allow my plant to die. I think he is my farista. So he is my farista. So therefore, he's my angel. We call them as angel investors. They're helping us in initial steps of focusing on the business ideas as compared to a VC who is much more stricter compared to a angel investor. So let's talk about VCs also, since I've already used the word VC. Let me tell you about VC. I'll tell you about VC, but before that, I'll just get into one more word called term sheet. Now, these are in principle agreements which provides an overview of the terms and conditions of investment. So when there is an investor coming in and you're entering into an understanding saying that, yes, I'm willing to invest. If you see, yeah. So can you see here? You can see here where we're talking about signing up, saying that, hey, okay, I'm ready. And let's sign up. Then we're talking about an in-principle agreement saying that this would be our terms and conditions. Actual agreement will get it done later, but in principle, let's understand a certain terms as to what will be my rights, what should be the pricing, what will be the rights and obligations, what should be the valuation, what will be the option, what will be the pool in which it will be done. All that discussions happens. That's called as a term sheet. Very popular term, especially in negotiations, that your term sheets must be there, which will tell you as to the way forward. Like how we say in principle sanction letter in a bank. In banks, we use this word. There is a sanction letter. In principle, it has come. It's not that money has come, but in principle, you've got some understanding. Not that that's the actual agreement. Let's go to one more. Here we go. Incubator. Incubator, the moment you use this word incubator, I think all our minds, the moment you see the word incubator, will go to that Nannasa, Munnasa, Pyarasa infant baby, which is born and in the hospital, it will be kept in one box under constant monitoring. Can you see all the constant monitoring? And you have the paramedical staff who are taking care of the cute little infant which is there. Normally, incubator means the cute box which is there in the hospital. We call that as an incubator. Actually, this word incubator has been derived from this hospital industry only, right? In the healthcare industry itself, it is from there we coined this word called incubator. What is the role of this incubator in a hospital? A newborn baby is there. That newborn baby has to be protected. So we'll keep it in a box. That's what we do, isn't it? Keep that baby in that box, protect that baby. That's called as an incubator. Why? Because it is not ready to face the challenges of the world. It's not ready. It's very, very delicate. Its immunity levels are not good enough. And therefore, the outside climatic conditions will be very harsh. It may not be able to withstand. And therefore, to protect the infant, we keep it in that incubators, that is the box. Now, let us have the same analogy for a startup entity. Papa startup entity, Nannasa, Munnasa, Chotasa, Pyarasa entity, which has started saying that we will do something, we will want to achieve something. All youngsters have come together. Papa, they don't know the realities of the world. They don't know the harsh competitions that is there. They don't know about these cutthroat competitions. They don't know how they can be stamped. They are not aware about it. They need somebody to protect them. And that somebody who protects them are called as the incubators. So that means it is these angel investors who may act as the incubators. There may be some VCs who may act as the incubators, or there's these specialized incubators only. We call them as incubators and the accelerators. They are the ones who say that, don't worry, I will take care of you. I will protect you. In fact, as chartered accountants, we are all aware in GST law. We are all aware in GST law that there is exemptions for incubators. I'm sure those who have been reading on GST will be aware about this, that we have got the exemption notification, which gives us the exemptions for incubator services subject to the conditions of turnover and the period of time of a shelf life. So taking care of that, we have got the incubator. Same thing here with the incubator services. In fact, I remember in one of the sessions, I told them in GST, in one of the GST sessions, I was telling that incubator, then there's an incubator and incubatee. So there's an incubator and there's an incubatee. The moment I said incubatee, immediately one North Indian student was there, and so the person asked, "Kiski beti? Kiski beti bola aapne?" Kiski beti nahi. Acha incubati hai. Incubati nahi. Incubati is different from incubati or unki beti. It is not incubati or unki beti. It is incubati. So we call them as incubati and incubators. So let's understand these incubators in a little more detail, and the accelerators. Accelerators is not what you have in your car, wherein zoom, zoom. Some of these, especially these younger generations, I don't know what joy they have. They have to do one wheelie, and that sound, they'll create one sound where silencer is removed from their vehicle. Oh, they'll make that huge decibel level noise, and they will zoom. They will think that they can impress everybody if they accelerate like that. I've never understood. I've been asking a lot of girls also, because I keep asking the girls, hey, do you really get impressed when somebody removes the silencer like that and zoom, zoom, they go, are you getting really impressed? They said, no, we are getting irritated, stupid fellows. I said, why don't you fellows, I think we have to publicly tell, all these girls must tell all these Dakota boys who think that it's a great show off, that boom, they go accelerating. So what is this incubators and accelerators in real term? Let's understand here. So let's talk about incubators and accelerators. Basically, if you see here, incubators generally focus on startups in the early development stage. So that is the role. At an early development stage, it is the incubators who will help. Whereas on the other hand, accelerators program only accept startups with at least a minimum viable product. I told you about this minimum viable product, MVP. So when you have that, only then they are willing to. That means you already have that Nokia 1100 where you're ready, or that Motorola pager was ready, and then you launched it, and something is still usable. You still have a market, then only they come into play. So that's a slight difference between an incubator and accelerator. These people come in the very early development stage. These people come a little one step later, but it's a very hairline difference. So very hairline difference, which can vanish off, like how this line vanished just now. Good, right? Like how this vanished, that also will vanish. Super. That is about incubators and accelerators. Aha, now come to stage 3. Now imagine we are telling stage 3. Stage 3 now. What is stage 1, stage 2? Yeah, this is not Banshankari stage, first stage, Banshankari second stage. What is stage 1, stage 2? We discussed stage 1, stage 2. Stage 1 was the pre-seed. Oh, that's now I remember. I remember that. Pre-seed was the first stage. Seed was the second stage. We remember this. That was stage 1, stage 2. Stage 3, what we are entering into is called as the growth stage. Before idea was there. Next one, minimum viable product has been created. That has been done in the second stage, that the seed is done. And now we are talking about growth stage. Banshankari is third stage. So we're getting into growth stage. In the growth stage, we popularly use the terminology as Series A, Series B, Series C. Immediately, the moment I say, oh, you're in which series? Series A, Series B. First time somebody told, oh, we're in Series A. I said, Netflix में series है ना, वो series जो चल रहा है, वो series ना, नहीं वो prime का series चल रहा है ना. Yeah, I said, oh, you mean that Har Har Mahadev series comes, that one, Karpuragaram, Karnavataram, Sansarasaram, Bhujgendraharam. So I said, no, not that stage. Sago, full TV serial series, not those series. Netflix series, that series, this series. Series here is Series A, Series B, Series C is a terminology they've used to tell about the funding stages. This has got nothing to do with your TV serial series. Yeah, Netflix series, that series. These are all series which we use for funding. So let's understand what are these series A, B, C, and each stage, how it happens, what happens. So let's understand all these series. Let's get into the series part. Let's start with series. I told you these are all the funding rounds. You got series A funding, series B funding, series C funding. It's all about that series and not this what I've given in the picture here. It is neither the TV here. Can you see with the remote controls? Yeah, everybody is having one remote control there. Remote control to watch one series, not that series, or some of them in mobile only. So go wherever they are sitting in office also, they'll be watching some series. Some of them now in the session also, some chartered accountants, I'm watching IPL series currently going on, matches going on, IPL. Good. Yay, not that series. So IPL series and all, we're not talking about here. We're talking about funding series. So please ensure you don't go to that channel. Please flip your channel. That channel is a bad idea. Let's come to our channels here. So I have, I'll just take these. Oh, thank you. Some of them are telling me, saying that nice singing. Your singing is nice singing, good, okay. And then some of them are telling you, you're simplifying things so nicely. Thank you. Very good. Thank you so much. Right. No, the singing and all was not my song. It is actually there in the Upanishads and the Vedas. That's a very popular verse. Karpuragaram, Karnavataram, Sansarasaram, Bhujagendraharam. Yeah. So let's come back here. So let's talk about the series here. Series A, Series B, and Series C. Now, what is this? Let's begin. We talked about first one called as pre-seed. Pre-seed was at the idea stage. Then we talked about seed. Seed was all about where my idea is done. Now I converted that into a product. It may be just a minimum viable product or whatever, but I've started a product. I've launched it in the market. Something is happening. Some start has happened. That is called as seed. Now I'm going for the next rounds. Now it's not just a seed or a sapling. It is now becoming a plant and a tree. Now that is where we talk about Series A funding, Series B funding, and Series C funding. So let's understand this. And in this, what are all the jargons that gets associated with that? Let me start with Series A. Now, when we start with the Series A funding, it is the first stage of startup funding. This is very first stage of the startup funding. So when we talked about this very first stage of startup funding that we have, the KPIs are looked into for investment, the angel investors, VCs, they all use this. They have the business models for this. They look into the R&D, right? After the seed is done, then what is to do? How do we ensure that we are ready for the launch, right? When we are ready for the launch, let me just show you here. Yeah, you see, here, we are all ready for the launch. Now the countdown begins. So we say the countdown begins and we're ready for the launch. That means into the big league. Now we are ready to launch it into big league. Now we're trying to say that let's go global, let's go into the international level, the local market, let's capture the entire market. Right now you're eyeing bigger things. If you see this guy here, if you see, can you see the way he's eyeing into bigger things? And can you see how the arrow mark is shooting up here? Yep, that's what it is. So we're talking about getting ready for the launch. You see the gears are ready, rocket is ready for the launch, and that's called a Series A funding, where you're all set with your product. Right, so we say we are all set after the seed funding. Seed funding ho gaya. Now the product or service of startup is already available in the market. So that means you can now grow big. That level is called as Series A funding. Now I think we are all clear. So tomorrow when an entrepreneur comes, no, we need to first ask him, what stage are you in? Are you in the pre-seed stage? Are you in the seed stage? Or are you already there in the Series A? So somebody comes and tells you saying that I'm already there in Series A. That means we don't have to discuss about the idea, about the product anymore, because they've already launched it. So we say you're already at the Series A. So at least we get an idea as to which level of startup he is in. Perfectly clear. Series B. Now this is used for scaling the business. That is next level now. One step next, right? We have all the ratings. If you see, this is beautiful, isn't it here? To see here, yeah, you're getting the ratings, the double star, triple star raters, your stars, especially, when we have to go to some restaurants, well, we see, which has a better rating and we select that like that. So all that is done here. Then here he is now planning to climb the ladders. He is hitting the targets well. So then you have hit your targets well, then you can go and create a new target. So we're talking about growing customers. We are talking about scaling the business. All this happens in Series B. So when you're talking about Series B funding, that means you've already surpassed the development stage, right? So that means you're much at a better stage where you're able to scale up. We call it a Series B funding. This is where you have the VCs. This is where you have the FIIs, the PEs, or all these guys may come into picture for investment. Series C, like this, you can have any number of series. A, B, C, D, we all have studied in school. Adon matra correct gotu. Come on, all of you tell A, B, C, D means we'll start off A, B, C, D. And that we will tell, right? And we are all experts in that. Of course, over a period of time, certain things, because kids know better. Kids will say A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. That is what they've learned. Now we already forgot that also. Look at how we are. We'll start A for apple. Then we'll ask, what is B? B for bada apple. Oh, B is bada apple. What is C? C for chota apple. Chota apple. What is D? D is dusra apple. Ago. Right? So we'll change it only. And some of them local fellows will say, hello, you're speaking in Hindi. I don't understand Hindi. You please speak in Kannada. Okay. A for apple. B for bere apple. C for chick apple. D for dod apple. Right? E for e apple. Apple E apple to go. So therefore, ABCD series can go on. So there is no end for the series. So you have Series A, Series B, Series C. They can create how many number of series they want. Series D, E, whatever they want, they can keep creating the series, no problem at all. So that series can not end at all. So basically, you're talking about you're still growing your businesses further and further. That is called as, normally we stop at Series C. We say that Series C is the last one, right? And we say that we start going into acquiring other businesses and so on. That's what we call it as Series C. Super. Then come to somebody called as the lead investor. Now, who is this lead investor? Let's understand this lead investor. Before that, Nirupama says, I am recalling my class day, sir, breaking down the complex concept into easy, funny, and understandable way. Thank you, Nirupama. She's saying that I remember now my class days now. You have broken up the entire complex concepts into such easy and fun and understandable way. Thank you. Thank you, dear. Good. So let's come back here. What is life if there is no fun? In fact, that's what I said. I don't want my presentation to be dull, because we have gone into this corporate style of presentations today. If you see all the international corporate style of presentations, it will be plain, simple, in our language, boring, right? So that is how it would be. I said, no, I want it to be colorful. I want it to be absolutely colorful. The moment we see the presentation only, we should start celebrating. Holi hai! Yay! O rang barse bhige chunar wali rang barse. So we are talking about having all the colors, right? We should remember song of Amitabh Bachchan recalls, right? That's how it should be. And that's what I made it also. Life must be filled with fun. So we have somebody called as lead investor. So let's talk about this concept of lead investors. A fund round will have one lead investor, and lead investors are then joined by co-investors. So basically where you have got, I told you, Series A over Series B, Series C, then we're talking about a larger entity now. That means you're having too many players into it. When you have too many players, like how we have consortium of banks, wherein many banks are lending money to one particular business, then we are talking about a lead banker also. That's the same way we're talking about a lead investor here. There will be many co-investors, but there'll be one lead investor. He's the one who handles all the deal negotiations. He will take care of the diligence processes, business discussions, all the commercials, and he has an expertise. Basically, he knows in the investing company what has to be done, etc. And he represents the investors' interest jointly. So that means he is like the lead. Now here we have the lead and they're all joining together with that person. So here we have the lead investor. He says, don't worry, you can join with me and join me with that, right? So these people say, here, we're all there. We'll put you up, right? We'll make you the lead investor. You be our lead investor. That's how it happens. So we call them as lead investors. I think we are clear about what this is. Great. That's about lead investors. And now I told you, see, now I think you're also getting it at what stages who was coming in. So I put all the terminologies in such a way that it's easy to understand. In fact, somebody was suggesting, saying that, hey, why don't you put all the terminologies in ABCD order? I said, Aldona, yeah, first give all terminologies of A, then all terminologies of B, then all terminologies of C, D. Why don't you put it that way? I said, if I take a session of ABCD of terminologies, then it will become like dictionary. And the problem with dictionary is what? The problem with dictionary is, in a dictionary, divorce will come before marriage. Tago, that's how a dictionary is. Divorce will come first, then comes marriage. Which fellow will understand what you are telling, right? So dictionary will never give me a correct understanding of the concepts. It may give you the meaning of the word easily, I agree, but it will not give me the understanding of the concepts. Now, what I have done for you here is, in this presentation, I put the concepts along with the stages. Because it is with the stages, it's easy for you to relate with the concept and the stage. Now, you all of us, I think now we are all very clear, isn't it? Now we all understand. When we say bootstrap, we all know bootstrapping happens in the beginning. We are very clear about that. Why? Because bootstrapping is right in the beginning, that is at the idea stage, which is pre-seed. We know that is when we talk about FFF. We know that happens in the pre-seed level. Family, friends, fools investing for us, right? So we know it's all happening at the starting level. So now it's easy for you to understand when I'm talking about all these lead investor. You know, lead investor will not come in the beginning. He comes at the stage where my company is growing very well. And there are a plethora of investors who wants to invest in my entity. I think we are clear with that. And then we have one more friend of ours saying that forget about all the jargons. I got confused with SCM itself. You know, the CA Institute you had put up the idiom telling that we have an SCM. So he said SCM. I thought SCM was supply chain management. Right? So he said SCM, supply chain management, jargons every CA must know. So that only there's one jargon there. Thanks for sharing that, right? Wherein one of our CA friends is telling that SCM I thought was supply chain management. SCM basically means the the study circle meeting. So this is a study circle meeting. So we call this as a study circle meeting. So we say SCM. So CA Institute uses this in all their idioms. When they have to announce saying that there's an SCM, there's an SCM study circle meeting. Supply chain management. Tago, there only one jargon started. All right. Good. Thanks for sharing that. Now come to one more called as VCs. VC is your venture capitalists. Yeah. I was wondering what is this to do with venture capital. Then I realized just like my friend said, supply chain management, SCM, study circle meeting, like that only. Here they are trying to do a venture or adventure where into the capital city. Tago, so venture capital, right? And FIIs, this is like your CBI. FII is like CBI tips. No, it's not. So it's got nothing to do with FII, CBI and all is not there. Then what is this VCs and FIIs? Let's understand. Venture capitalists. Let's start with VC. I'll have some water with your permission. Let's get into this part. Let's get into this part about, oops, I need to go back. One minute. Yeah, here. So when I come back to VCs and FIIs, here it goes. Venture capitalist. VCs are all those bada fellows or equipped with some analysts because they analyze the entire company in detail. Yeah, and they will provide capital only if they can see high growth potential in that entity. And of course, they will nurture and build the companies to cash out investment with substantial returns. See, their whole objective is I invest 1x, I should get back 5x, 8x, 10x from my investments. So they have a lot of analysis that they do, and that is how they invest in these entities. FIIs, we all know about foreign institutional investors. So any entity, right, which is established or incorporated outside India, that's why we say foreign institutional investors. DIIs is domestic institutional investors. So that's how it goes. FII is foreign, DII is domestic. Right? That's how it goes. Domestic institutional and foreign institutional investors. Of course, they're all registered with SEBI and they can be there. And they have a strategy of investing across the globe. That's why you can see the entire globe here. And they land up investing everywhere. Great. Then let's come to one more. Let me go to the next one. Here we go. Convertibles. Convertibles means not like the car convertibles, very popular convertible cars. You know, you have these convertibles. They were very popular, called as the convertible cars, wherein, you know, you can be converted into the open, not that. So what is this convertible debt? It's like a convertible car, we have convertible debt. That means it can first be a debt and over a period of time, it can convert itself into an equity. So we call that as convertible debts. So let me straight away take, I think that's too simple because we as chartered accountants in this profession, I think we know this. So let me take you there, convertible debt. Wherein we issue debt instruments at the time of issue and they have an option to convert. Again, of course, when I say option, it may be OCPS, that is optionally convertible, or it can be CCPS, compulsorily convertible, that depends on what are the terms of understanding and conditions we have. So let's look at this here. So if I see here, basically we say these are debt instruments at the time of issue and they can be converted to equity. If you don't want to convert them, it can be a complete repayment also if it is optionally convertible. Compulsory convertible, then we know it becomes an equity over a period of time. Then they usually come with some conditions like the valuations, what should be the cap, what should be the discount, what are the other clauses that will be there, that depends. So we call it as convertible debts. I think this is something which we know it, so I'll not spend time on this. Now let's come to dilution. Dilution is not what this person is doing in the lab, diluting it. In fact, I wanted to put some other picture. They said, no, it will become controversial. Don't put. They what? I told, put a picture of a milkman and with the milk can. Why should I put milkman and milk can? He is famous for dilution. It used to be very popular. And when they used to ask, when those fellows, now it is now packaged. Now there's a lot of quality standards. All that is there. Before and all, these guys used to come. The milkman will come and he used to come and give the milk in those. He said 1 liter, 2 liter. He used to pour. We stand there with the vessel and he'll pour and then he used to go. At that time it used to be fun. He'll pour. We'll ask, where is milk? Only water is visible here. Dilution level highest. And he used to give fantastic answers also. So the milkman used to give fantastic answers. He said, no, yesterday my cow, it drank a lot of milk. It drank a lot of water. So, tumma neer kudu bidtama, nenne, adukke. So that's what he used to tell. I said, wow, I never knew that it will drink water and it will give water. This is new concept, right? But dilution basically is put up here saying that like how they do dilution in a chemistry lab. So what is dilution? Dilution has got nothing to do with the milkman. It has got nothing to do with this dilution. Then what is dilution? Let's understand what is dilution. Here I go. The next one. Here we go. This is called dilution. Aha, some of them, acha. Now I understood dilution. Dilution ka matlab hai food. Because if you see here also you're given food ka picture. Here also you're given full food. Aha, dilution means pizza, pastries, cakes with a cherry topping. Dilution. No. What I mean by dilution is you had the entire pizza with you. Now if you see everybody is taking one share. Oh, aisa kya? Oh, that is called dilution. You had the big share of the cake. Now everybody is taking one share of the cake. So therefore the cake size is becoming smaller and smaller for you. So your cake size is becoming smaller. That is what I meant. So don't think dilution is what has got to do with pizza. Pizza, first of all, I've never understood. Okay. From where this word pizza, I've never understood. When you write, you'll write it as P-I-Z-Z-A. That is supposed to be the spelling. But when you pronounce it, you have to pronounce it as pizza. Pizza, that means there's a T. When you pronounce a pizza, there's a T in when you pronounce it's a pizza. So there should be a T. I always asked in English, said, why do you put a T there? In a pizza, there's no T only. It should be pizza, 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 pizza. Our Indian style, pizza, pizza. They said, no, it's not pizza, pizza. It is pizza. I said, but there is no T there. Hey, this is English. In English, even if the T is not there, you have to assume there's a T. And you have to say pizza. I said, okay. Then I saw in newspaper, tsunami. TSU. I said, TSU should be... I could not pronounce only. TSUN. How to pronounce this? I said, I was struggling. Then one fellow said, hey, T is silent. T is silent, it's tsunami. Then I asked it, are you loser? If it is tsunami, then why did you put one T there? T haakbitu. Then I'm struggling here to pronounce. And then you're telling, no, T, we put it simply for time pass. SU, tsunami, you can tell. Then why you put T? Then only I understood. Acha, now I understand correctly. The T which you're not using in tsunami, you're using it in a pizza. Correct tally aitu. Then I asked how it has tallied correctly. How it has tallied is because once you have a pizza, your stomach will have tsunami. A correct link, right? Full tsunami will start. Once we have the pizza, full tsunami will start. Yes, we don't know from where, especially those ready-made pizzas, from where they made, how they made, God only knows. Yeah, have the pizza, then all tsunami will start. So the T we know from where it is shifting. From pizza here and the tsunami there. Coming back to this dilution concept. So let's come back to the concept of dilution. So when it comes to dilution, it is reduction in ownership percentage of existing shareholders when new shares are issued. See, as you keep giving away your stakes, see, first as founders, you had 100% of the stake in the company. Now you no more have 100% because now you have allowed few more people to come in. You said angel investors have come in, so they should get some stake. So 100 became 90 and 10. You have 90, they have 10%. Then some more started where we talked about from pre-seed, then we went to seed funding, then let us say 80 became 80-20. You have 80, they have 20. So again, dilution. So from 100, it became 90, now it is becoming 80. Then you started with Series A, Series B, Series A, and every round there is a funding happening. Slowly your percentage from 100 is slowly diluting, vanishing. That is called what I have written here. And that is the significance of this called dilution, wherein your reduction in ownership percentage. Obviously, there will be a reduction in the ownership percentage over a period of time. That's called as dilution. I think we are clear about dilution. Whenever an investor comes, he'll ask you the first question, how much are you willing to dilute? Then we talk. That is why when you see in all these arguments or negotiations, they'll say, okay, I'm willing to dilute 2% of my equity. I'll give you 4% of my equity. That means what? I'm willing to dilute 4%, give away 4% to you. For that, you give me how much? That's where the valuation comes in and say, okay, for 10% dilution, I'll give you so much. 12% dilution, I'll give you so much, and so on. We call that as dilution. Let me just, before I go further, just me look into some more chats we have. Aha. Some of them are telling, I like this example of water and milk. Some of them are telling English is a funny language. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much. Right. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Let me take you to the next one. Scalability. Scale means not that weighing scale. Tago. This has become more popular today than anything else. Which one? Weighing scale. Why? Oh, full diet or diet. Why diet? See, we want to see six-pack. See, the six-pack is our vision statement, our ambition. We must have six-pack. But when you look into the mirror, forget six-pack. We only have family pack. Only six-pack go. Full family pack is there here. Gundu gundu. In fact, some of these guys, when you meet those guys, I remember between friends, we'd had our alumni meet, friends alumni meet. This was alumni meet after how many years? 30 years. So I was meeting them, college friends, after 30 years. 30 years later. 10 saal, 20 saal, 30 saal. 10, 20, 30. So after 30 years, meeting them, meeting those fellows, everybody was competing with Lord Ganesha. Full gundu gundu they had become. So when I met them, all friends, the discussion only started like that. Saying that, okay, so how about you? How many months? How many months are? What do you mean, how many months? No, I thought you are already pregnant. How many months? I was asking. 3 months, 8 months, 4 months pregnant, right? So some of these fellows, gundu gundu, had become. So for them, all of them skiing machine full. Every day, scalability means that scale only they will see. Weight kitna bad gaya, weight kitna bad gaya. Actually, this is wrong. In reality, today, that fellow, when he stands on the weighing scale, no, he cannot even see. Dikh nahi raha hai, because in front of the, what is that, equator, the Earth's equator is blocking. Dikh nahi raha hai, weighing scale hi nahi dikh raha hai. That stage they'll be in. So scalability is not that scale. That weighing scale. Scalability is the ability of a business to grow rapidly and efficiently. This is one question which we have to always answer and ask in the startup entity. What is your scalability? Especially when we have to do a valuation. If you have to say, oh, my projections are very good, I can get a high valuation. Oh, tomorrow I'm expecting higher revenues. Then what is the scalability? Then I have to check the scalability of a product, whether it has the potential to rapidly and efficiently grow. Oh, if you have the potential to grow, then I can say, okay, I can create a projection, telling that future cash flows will be like this. If scalability nahi hai, to kya karenge? So therefore, very important to check on the scalability. So we say scalability is a word which is popularly used. Then comes another word called pivot. This pivot is all about a change in strategy or direction for a startup. It can happen for a reason, like they tried a product and it failed. Well, this is what I want to do, but it failed. I remember one person started agarbatti. Yeah, it's called agarbatti, right? He started one agarbatti activity. When he started this agarbatti, he said, I asked him, oh, what is your strategy. He said, oh, I'm creating an agarbatti. What perfume? Aha, what aroma, right? What divinity? You will go into meditative state. You will go into a trance straight away, right? Then he said, the moment people use that agarbatti, they'll have so much of peace. All of them will be telling, the moment they have that agarbatti in their house, they sit down, they'll all be, oh, is what he told. Yeah. But actual reality, what happened was, anybody who used that agarbatti, they got frustrated. All of them got so frustrated because they could not tolerate the frustration. They were getting irritated with that agarbatti. Forget about all of them sitting there and telling, oh, no. They all became Durga Matas. They became Durga Matas, and you could see their, the way they came with 10 hands, 10 heads, Ma Kali types, Bhadra Kali. Yeah. Then we all had to sing Aigiri Nandini Nandita Medini Vishwa Vinodini Nandinute Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini. So we full calm down. So the business failed. He tried agarbatti. Agarbatti totally failed. But you know what he did? He did a pivot. What did he do? Instead of calling it as agarbatti, he called it as mosquito repellent. I said, what are you telling? He said, yeah. When people cannot withstand this agarbatti, a human being cannot withstand it. How a small mosquito will withstand it? So it will run away, don't worry. So he said, I'll make it into, so total pivot, change in strategy, saying that I will change this. This is just a comical example. Please don't take this as a live example, but I'm just trying to tell you what's a pivot. Now you change the entire strategy itself and say it can be like this. It can be used for this. Somebody created a cool drink. He created a cool drink and said, this is a fantastic cool drink. But actually what happened was, it was so horrible that cool drink was not a cool drink. In fact, a tonic was better. But then accidentally that cool drink fell on the floor. And when that cool drink, when it fell on the floor, it cleaned the entire ceramic tile, which even phenyl could not clean. A phenyl could not clean as well as this cool drink could clean. Then he said, super, I got my strategy, change the strategy. We'll no more call this as a cool drink. We'll call it as a phenyl, it's a new cleaner wherein you can clean everything there. So therefore, this is a change in pivot. So basically, pivot is changing in the strategy or direction for a startup. That is called as a pivot. Okay. Now there is one question. I will answer that question. This is by Amit. Right. Amit is asking a question about saying dilutions. Pre-money and post-money dilutions, for example, 10% dilution. Then suppose for 10%, investor brings 1 crore, his stake will be 9%. Please explain. Okay, so basically mathematical calculation is what he is asking for. What is that? 1 minute. Amit, as far as this valuations part, I think I just said that we will have a separate session on valuation. Wherein in the valuation, I'll tell you the entire numbers and all that. So I will definitely take you through the entire jargons of valuations itself as a separate session, wherein with examples and case studies, we can try to understand how the valuations are done. So what we do, a pre-money valuation, post-money valuations, how it is done. We will discuss that, and then how it is linked with dilution. So what does it mean mathematically? 10% is as good as 9%. A dilution is if it is pre-money or post-money, etc. That we'll definitely understand. But I think more or less what you've asked the question is in the right manner. So whatever you're asking is the right manner. Basically telling that if I go by a pre-money, then what happens to the post-money? Obviously, because of this, the post-money percentages will change. But we'll get into that details when we go into the valuation part. So let me stick to these jargons today, and maybe one more session we will have on valuations, and there we will take up those matters separately. Okay? Super. Good. But otherwise, overall, your understanding is right. You gave an example, that understanding is right. So I don't think there is a difference in understanding. So don't worry about it. Good to go. So we have understood pivot also. Now come to these transactional documents. Now this, as a chartered accountant, very important. Very important, especially as a CA. What are these transactional documents, which is very important? One, these terminologies are used. SSA, CP, CS. I always start CS means my qualification, company secretary, right, as a qualification. Then SHA, I thought SHA, H Shah, I know, right? One way, I know this is only SHA. Then you know AOA, MOA, I think the AOA, MOA, we all know it. What is this SSA? Share subscription agreements. So we have a lot of these share subscription agreements as a primary investment, as to when you're going to subscribe, how the subscription should happen, whether there is a first right given to so-and-so, is there some percentage, is it a weightage? So the share subscription agreements, very important. So SSAs is something which is normally used as a terminology. CPs and CS are very popular terms that is used in most of the agreements. Especially while drafting these agreements, we use CPs and CS. Condition precedent, right? Condition subsequent. So we use these terminologies. SHA, shareholders agreement, very popular today. If you're talking about investors, then we automatically have shareholders agreements. Automatically, there will be shareholders agreements coming into play. So therefore, very, very popular terminology. SSAs, SHAs, condition precedent and condition subsequents will always be there in most of these investment transactions. Even in a secondary investment, I hope you know the difference between a primary investment and a secondary investment. Primary investment is where the company is issuing the shares. That becomes primary. Secondary is we're talking about a share transfers. We're only doing a transfer. That means we're only transferring the shares from one person to another. That is where the dilution comes in. Where the promoter already has 100%, then he gives away 10%. That means you're not going for a primary, you're going for secondary there. Where he say, I'll give you my shares to you. I'm selling my shares. So it becomes a secondary. There we use the word SPS. A spa. Spa means not the ones which you use it in those resorts. Go to a resort, relax in a spa, some massage and all will be there. Oil spa, not that spa. So here spa is your share purchase agreements. So all the share purchase agreements, I think we are very clear. Share subscription happens at the primary level. Share purchase will happen secondary level because it's a share transfer. So share purchase agreements. Here also there can be a condition precedent and a condition subsequent. And of course, we have the share transfer deeds, the JVs that can come into. I will explain about CPs and CS in the subsequent slides when I take you there. Right. Amit says, thank you. Very good. Then let's go on to the next one. So these are all very important terminologies, especially all this. So let's take the condition precedent, condition subsequents, and so on. Let's talk about this. What is this condition precedent? This condition precedent, if you see here, it is crucial to be completed before the deal comes through. So what do you mean? It has to be completed before the deal comes through. That is why it's called condition precedent. You do this, then only I will sign the deal. Otherwise, no deal. You know, if you see here, these pinky fingers together, they used to say this, right? Promise, katti, no katti. Aishapat, kasam se, nannane, ninnane, they will tell. So that is your, we are talking about, I will do all these things. After the promise, no, you'll do all this. I promise I will do all this. Then only my investment will start. That is condition precedent. Condition subsequent, which says key to be completed within a certain timeline post closure of transaction. That means I will give it to you, then I'll fix some timelines. Within the timelines, ensure you set right all these things. That is called as condition subsequent. So it can be either as a precursor, saying that, okay, first you do it, then I'll go through the deal, or I'll do the deal, then you ensure within so-and-so timelines you complete it. So either we have a condition precedent, CP, or we'll have a CS. I think we're clear with the CPs and CS. Because what happens with these founders and these startup entities, no, they'll never use a full form at all. They'll simply say, okay, what about the CPs? Yeah, do we have any CPs? Do we have any CS? We don't know what you're talking about. So therefore, I think now we are clear about what is CPs and CS. Then, of course, most importantly, the warranties and the indemnities. When an investor comes in, he says, hello, if you have done some defaults before the transaction date, that means before today, I'm investing my money today. You have done some defaults in the past. Why should I be liable for all your past? So therefore he says, I want a warrant from you, a warranty, telling that you will indemnify. So we're talking about giving warranties to these investors, telling them, don't worry, we will indemnify if there is any default or if there is any non-compliances which have happened before the transaction date. It is for this safeguard only to ensure that these problems are not there. They do a due diligence. So we call it as DDs. That's again jargons. We say DD. Before and all, for us, DD means Doordarshan. That is what we knew, DD. Before we say DD means Doordarshan. Now they're telling, no, DD means due diligence. Oh, Doordarshan alva. No, not Doordarshan. Otherly, FDD, financial due diligence, LDD, legal due diligence, TDD, tax due diligence, DD ne Doordarshan. No. Otherly, it's like telling that Bangalore Doordarshan, yeah, Chennai Doordarshan, Athara, we have got FDDs, financial due diligences, LDDs, legal due diligences, TDDs, tax due diligences, SDDs, secretarial due diligences. So we do a lot of these due diligences that happens today now. So that's why that is where all we as CAs, we're all involved in all this, isn't it? As chartered accountants, we have to get involved in doing the DDs due diligences so that they have seen, okay, whether all compliances are there, what they're telling, is it matching, is it true, check all those things before investment is done, all that is taken care. Good. Then there's one doubt where Ujjwal is asking, saying that does pivot come under SWOT analysis? Good question. So Ujjwal is asking, can pivot come under SWOT analysis? Yeah, why not? It can be part of your SWOT analysis. Why did you go for a pivot? Basically, what did you say pivot was? Pivot we said was you're changing, right? You're changing the direction. Maybe the product is getting changed or you're doing something else. Or you. How did you do that? You analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats. Maybe things have changed. COVID. Pre-COVID, you thought about something saying that this is best. Post-COVID, you felt the opportunities are there somewhere else. So maybe based on your SWOT analysis, you realized, I think now the opportunity seems to be this side. Post-COVID, I think I should go this, or during COVID times, my opportunities have changed, or because of COVID, the threats have increased. So maybe it's because of a SWOT, it has been done. So you're right, Ujjwal. So does pivot come under SWOT analysis? Maybe it can come that. I would not say whether it comes under SWOT analysis. I will say it's because of your SWOT analysis, you took the pivot. That means you change the direction of your decision-making and the product and so on. Then one more of our friends is telling Shah, I thought was Amit Shah. Ayyo. Okay, right. Then here, one more friend of ours is telling, after all the DDs, we are only left with BD. So go, right? After all DDs, we are only left with BD. Actually, BD also is a popular word in entrepreneurship. BD is actually business development. Not that Ganesh BD, we are not that BD. Tundu BD, not that BD. So for us, BD means basically business development. I think that itself is a jargon now. So BD also is a jargon. You're right, sir. When you said after DD we have BD, correct? So BD also is that business development activities. Good. Let me go to stage 4, exit stage. Here we go. One of our friends had asked a query, na? Kiran is telling after DD, please namun bitbidi anta, right? After DD, namun bitbidi anta. He's telling after doing due diligence, we realized so many mistakes were there in this company. I don't want to invest. And the investor says, hey, namun bitbidi ma. After DD, I realized bitbidi anta. So Kiran Kumar is telling after due diligences. So after DD, it is bitbidi anta. So I don't want to invest in this entity types. Good one, Kiran. That's a good one. Right. So let's come to the last stage. The last stage, stage 4. Exit stage. Any investor, he is not getting married, saying what to do. I got married. Now I have to live with this person only lifelong. He is not entering into a marriage. He does not care. He says, I want to make profits. That's all. So the last stage is called as the exit stage, wherein he is not come here to marry. Similarly, many of these founders also, see, they are also, when they create a product, it's not that this is my lifetime ambition to make this product. I have a passion. I want to live and die with this product. Those days are gone. Now, even they say, I will create one entity, then create a good valuation, then exit, sell off, and then start one more. I'll start one more entity if required. But this I will sell it off. Same thing with every angel investor, a VC. Their objective of investment is not to stay there forever, not to get married. Their investment strategy is to ensure that we invest, then we ensure the entity grows, and then we get a better valuation and we exit. That's called as an exit stage. Now let's understand what happens at a exit stage. So exit, as I already told you, is not this exit. Yeah, right, door and saying bye-bye, correct. So of course, it can be the emergency exit, what is there here. So basically telling bye only. So how do you say bye? Let's understand when and how exits happen. So here we come to the last part of it, that is the exit. Now, exit is a strategy wherein the VC or the owners or the founders, whatever they are, they want to get out. That's all is the concept here. So they want to get out. So if you see here, they just want to get out. Basically, encash whatever has happened. They have seen the growth strategy. Once there is a growth, they feel, okay, now it is time to exit. Okay. So the common exit strategies include either there's an M&A, very popular term today. Oh, everybody M&A today become a popular terminology. Before also it was popular, but before it was called mother. We used to give a lot of respect always. Even now we give a lot of respect. For us, mother is everything. So ma we used to say. But now here M&A is not that ma. It has become this ma. So it is totally changed. Correct. M&As, mergers and acquisitions, IPOs. Now, these are all the exit routes. Either they will ensure they go into a merger and acquisition, that way they're being taken over by somebody, and therefore they encash their money, or they go for an IPO. We all know Zomato went into an IPO listing, isn't it? That's how they encashed their money, right? Wherein that's what Zomato did. Of course, price fluctuations you cannot help, because I told somebody the example of Zomato that they're telling me in return, I invested in Zomato, no, I don't have money for tomato also. The eternal stock market, what you can do? No, Zomato, no money for tomato. That is something what we cannot help in stock markets, right? So basically M&As, IPOs, or liquidations, or outright sale, or it can be a bankruptcy. Can you see this fellow Papa? Even in his wallet, there is a cobweb. That is stage of bankruptcy. Even in the wallet, there's a cobweb. So super. We call it as an exit. We say there is a exit. So exit can happen for whatever reasons. Exit strategies can happen for any reason, because you feel it is going down, or it is too volatile, or you feel it is right time to encash, either way. And you say, thank you so much. I will get out of this. And they will go for a sale. That is what I have told you here. That's about the exit strategies. I think we are very clear now about all these points, what has been discussed. So just to sum up all of them together, I just divided all these jargons into the respective stages. One as the pre-seed stage, one as the seed stage, then the next one as the growth stage, which is about your series A, B, C, etc. And then of course the final stage is the exit stage, where you say that let me encash and say goodbye and walk out of this. Good. These were some of those popular jargons which were there. I will just add a few, many more. I'll just add one or two for you. I thought I don't have to tell you about these jargons like unicorn. Now, what's a unicorn? Well, I think we all know it, because we've been seeing this terminology so many times. I think we have heard of this, we have seen it, we know it. So I felt we already know it. So unicorns, basically you have a 1 billion valuation. You call yourself as a unicorn because you've got that valuation of 1 billion. We feel you've achieved somewhere. You've got a 1 billion valuation. You must be called as something special. So we say you're a unicorn. there is other terminologies. There is decacorn. This is a unicorn, we all know. Decacorn is another term which is used. What is a decacorn? Their valuation reaches 10 billion. So if the valuation reaches 10 billion, then we call them as a decacorn. So we have a unicorn and we also have a decacorn. Then we also have dragons. Tago, unicorn only, from where it came, we don't know. Because I've not seen unicorns in any zoo. But we created unicorns. Now dragons wherever. Entered the dragon types. Now we have got dragons also. We have, these are all terminologies which are there in most of these startup ecosystems, right? Basically, dragons are those fellows who have in one starting only straight away, they get into this in single round. In single round itself, they get into the 1 billion valuations and so on. They call themselves as the dragons. When straight away they hit big, they call as the dragons. So like that, we have got some of these terminologies which are used, right? Great. So now let me now get into the last part of answering some more. Amit says, wonderful, sir. We love the way you placed this. Thank you so much. Very good. Okay. Thank you. So if I think it looks like I've answered all of them. One of them is saying that exit basically means take dowry and then leave the Gauri. And right? Take dowry and then leave the Gauri is one of our colleagues is telling. Yeah. Then one of them is asking a doubt saying that for one of the startups, the due diligence team found out that instead of section 61, the section 62 was quoted in the special resolution. The DD team said that it amounts to non-filing resolution instead of the startup to correct the mistake by filing NCLT compounding. Some of the penalty came to around 60 lakhs. Then the upcoming investor left the startup. The startup has drained its runway to correct its legal liability. Okay. Yeah, if you make mistakes even in your resolutions, then it is dangerous. So quoting a wrong section is definitely a dangerous activity because obviously the person who did that may not know what is 61 and what is 62, the difference. But the person who knows what is 61 and 62 definitely knows that both are not same. Yeah. Then Madhukar is asking us a doubt, telling that can we call a secondary transaction also as a exit opportunity for investors? Definitely. Good question, Madhukar. When we say exit options, when you say secondary transactions, basically you're saying transfer. Transfer means it's an exit for the existing investors wherein they can transfer off their shares to somebody. Of course, at those market valuations, whatever is there, they can do a transfer. Subject to, of course, they have to be careful with all the valuations for all that. They can definitely do a transfer, and that also is an exit opportunity for them. You're right, Madhukar. Absolutely correct. Good. I think I've answered all the queries. I think we are ready. Yep. I think we have done answering of all the queries also. Good. Superb. So I hope all of you enjoyed the session. I hope through this session, we have some knowledge of the jargons. Some jargons we have understood. We also had a lighter moment. We had our fun. So if you have anything else specifically, you can tell me, but I think I've answered all the queries. Yes, I've answered all the queries also. Yes, Manjunath, sir.
Yes, sir. I think, yeah.
I will just exit 1 minute.
One particular question, 1 second.
Nandidya?
Sir, that pre-money, post-money, something.
Yeah, that I've already answered them when I told them that we'll take it up in a valuation session. So that way we do one more session.
Right, right. Got it. Okay, if there are no further questions, then we are good to go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Demystifying startup jargons. Wow. That was an excellent session, sir. Excellent session with those fun-filled GAN, with so many caveats at each stage. Many jargons clarified with examples, which which will never be forgotten by us. Thank you so much, sir. I thank CA Vijay Raja, sir, on behalf of members present here and on behalf of managing committee members of Bangalore branch. We wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for taking your time out in your busy schedule and enlightening all the participants. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all the participants, for the support. I know you got enriched with the knowledge by Vijay Raja, sir. And keep supporting Bangalore branch by joining this kind of sessions. Thank you so much. I thank Vice Chairperson Pramodar Hegde and all the managing committee members present here. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I, Manjunath M. Hallur, Secretary of Bangalore branch, signing off for the day. Thank you so much. And definitely we will get in to another series, of continuation of this one, maybe valuation and something like that with Vijay Raja, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time, and then thanks all the participants. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.